Hello everyone, I am Kwanto. Welcome to my channel and let's draw Zuko from the avatar The Last Airbender in manhwa art style. First things first, I like to gather a few reference photos of the subject that I want to draw. In this instance we have Zuko. Then I begin sketching. I like to sketch in red so that I can easily ink above it and be able to see which is the sketch and which isn't. I start with the rough shapes, using a sphere for the head. Then I add some lines to know where the eyes will be, where the ears will be, where his outfit will be. And after I have the rough sketch, I start adding the details such as the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose, the hair, the scar. I start, as you see here, with the hair. I make them a bit more pointy because, as we said, we're going for a more manhwa art style. Though even in the animated series, Zuko also has kinda pointed hair, so I do that. As you can see, I chose to draw him in his season 3 form, because yeah, Zuko in season 3 is top tier. So I draw his hair from that scene. I like to erase the rough guidelines that I made in the start, and then I add his mouth. I didn't like it a lot here. Then I fix it, as you can see, using the liquify tool, maybe even the transform tool a bit. Also, make sure to flip the canvas while you're at it, as you can see that I'm doing here, to make sure that your drawing looks good on both sides. Sometimes with the artist's blind eye, we fail to see what is wrong until we take a picture of it or until we flip it, so make sure to flip your canvas constantly. Once your sketch is ready, I like to change the opacity to a lower one and I begin inking. I like to ink normally using a more refined pen, but sometimes and mostly nowadays I started using a pencil to ink, which adds a bit more of a variation on my line art, and honestly I kinda like this line variation, so I go for it. Yeah, make sure also to see how your inking looks like without the sketch below, to make sure you aren't doing anything wrong. Also, if you're using Clip Studio Paint, make sure that you're inking in a new layer set to vector, because with a vector layer you can easily erase, as you can see here, in between the lines. And with vector layers you can scale up your drawing without losing any of the details, and you can easily even change the width of your lines if you like. So with a few simple buttons in Clip Studio Paint you can change that, and you can set afterwards when you're about to color your layer to reference and color easily. After I have finished inking the rougher, bigger shapes such as the hair, the jaw, the clothes, the neck, I like to come in and ink the details. For that you can even do it in a new layer if you aren't feeling very comfortable with it, so that you can easily then scale or change the size or transform the eyes or the other facial features. So especially for a beginner, I would recommend doing the inking in a new, of the eyes at least, in a new layer. By this stage I'm almost finished with a line art, so I add a few more last minute details, and then I like to set my line art to reference, create a new layer below it, use the onion tool on Clip Studio Paint to paint the whole layer on a separate of a color, for instance gray in this, as you can see here, and then all the layers that I'm gonna use for the skin, for the hair, for the clothes as separate layers above, using clip mask as clip layers. Here I continue on with the coloring. I use the reference pictures from above to color pick, color select the colors. So I used the original animated colors for the skin, for the hair, for his outfits, for his car, and I make sure that everything is a new, as I said, clip layer above. And this can be of a great help, for instance, when I want to shade the skin, because I either use the alpha lock on the skin layer and then paint above it, or simply I create a new layer above the skin layers and below the colors, and I like to use the airbrush and shade it there. What I'm doing right now is actually using the paint bucket tool, or actually any other tool that I like, the lasso tool I think in this instance, to create a new layer above the line art and paint it at certain areas depending on the color below it. So for instance, in the skin, I don't want the line art to be black, so on top of it I choose a reddish pink or a darker color, darker than the one that I used to shade, to have the line art on this color and not black or brown or whatever. But this is also a stylistic choice, so of course you don't need to do it. Then with a multiply brush I set the eyes and on a new layer set to add glow I also add highlights to the eyes, and then after those are done I start actually shading the whole piece. So in this instance I create a new layer, I set it to multiply, and I begin adding shadows to the places where light doesn't hit. You can also follow along your reference picture if you'd like, or if you have one. I keep adding the shadows. Make sure of your color that you're using. Normally when you're shading you like to use a color that's already on the background of your piece, but here, since I don't have one, I like to go for a brown purple to do it. Then, to add the highlights of the hair, I have a specific brush and Clip Studio Paint that I like to use, and I create a new layer, set it to add glow, and make sure to lower the opacity to around 50%, and I use an orange yellow color since Zuko has brown hair. Then there's another stylistic choice that I like to use a new layer on top of everything, set it to add, and I like to use small white highlights, for instance on nose, on top of the eyes, but that's an artistic choice. Then I create a new layer, I set it to add some dimension or light from the flame that I'm drawing here. For this flame I used also some brushes and lots of add glow layers to make the effects of the fire and of the light. And once I'm satisfied with it, I play around a bit more with the colors, with the shapes. I change everything that doesn't work for me, and it is ready. Here's the final outcome. I hope you liked it, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. See you soon with the next video. Goodbye!